water it. That you're fucking vegan.
What's up, guys? My name is Joe, and I'll always be Qtrnattydaddies. I just want to get into this before I get into the topic at hand. I am working to improve my range of motion on all leg exercises. That's constantly something that I am taking into consideration when I load the bar. But on my heavy days, I do feel like parallel is just good enough to really load that bar up heavy. On my light days, I hit my depth, no problem. That's not to excuse not hitting depth on my heavy days. It's still something, like I said, I'm working on, but I'm really focused on getting used to heavier weight. As long as I hit parallel, I'm happy. The topic at hand, however, I wanted to go over is my upcoming bulk. In the first month of my bulk, I think I'm really interested in trying to bulk low carb, keto style, but not really keto, because I'll never stop taking my post-workout fast digesting carbohydrates. Nevertheless, I will have a high carb refeed day once a week. The plan is to be in a 500 calorie surplus at least. I will be documenting everything that I eat. I will not be doing any cardio in this month. I obviously don't anticipate putting on a whole lot of body fat. I do believe that you can put on lean muscle mass, however, while following keto or a keto style low carb diet. And that's really why I'm interested in experimenting with this myself and tracking the results. I will be taking measurements every month of my muscle groups, tracking that as progress. And obviously the weight on the scale is important too, but not as important as progress photos, as well as tracking weekly progress in a journal of your sets, reps, and the weight you use in the gym. And it's also important to monitor how you feel day by day when you're following a specific diet, because even though you would be in a caloric deficit or a caloric surplus, in the ideal position to hit all your goals, your strength could still regress. I have a strong relationship with food. So when I have cheat days, I really like to go all out. I binge hard, and I regret it the next day. When I surpass 10,000 calories, and I do on my cheat days very easily, and I wish I had the means to be able to record calorie by calorie everything that I consume and give legit numbers, but I can't. I won't, because I like to enjoy myself on my cheat days. I'm not going to spike my cortisol levels just to prove how many calories I can eat. However, with that being said, I feel the opposite is great after a cheat day. You would think after feeding your body those extra calories that you would perform in the gym. But when you overdo it and you have a binge day like I do, and you lose your self-control, wake up with a sore lower back because of all that extra weight that your stomach has pulling you down when you're standing up. And not to mention the extreme bloating and gas. And don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here bashing cheat days. There's nothing wrong at all with cheat days, but just keep it under control. And monitor your body's response to how you eat on your cheat days. You'll know if you overdo it, because your body's going to respond in a negative way the day after in the gym, even for a couple days after. And I don't know about you, but when I'm bulking or cutting, I want to see progress in the positive direction, and I want to limit strength regression at all costs. It's a very defeating feeling when you spend a month or two working hard in the gym to see that you're regressing, because you're simply not tracking enough data so that you can get to know your body and how it responds to the things that you put in it. what you put in is what you get out. Nevertheless, on to my next month of bulking. I'm going to be doing a traditional clean bulk the next month. I'll be adding carbohydrates into my diet. I'm the type of guy that anytime I lose weight or gain weight, my macros adjust accordingly week by week, so my macros are going to consistently change. However, I'm going to try and stay as consistently in a 500 calorie surplus for the entirety of my month-to-month programs, unless they call for a different caloric allowance. But for my traditional clean bulk phase, I have a 500 calorie surplus allowance and one cheat day a week. I am going to record what I eat on the cheat day just for my observational purposes. And I plan on running the traditional clean bulk for 1 or 2 months. So I'm going to play it by ear because I still do have to figure out my caloric maintenance in between cutting for this next 6 weeks. And on to month 4 of my bulk, leading into a very anticipated dirty bulk phase. I'm also going to play this by ear. I'm going to closely observe everything I eat, document everything. I'm going to have 3-hour feeding windows religiously just to ensure that I don't go overboard, because I am fully capable of gaining a pound a day. I have done it before. It's unnecessary. It does not do anything for strength. Putting more weight on that fast, it actually, like I said, will regress your strength, make you lethargic, hard of breathing, and it will even wake you up in the middle of the night, all that extra weight sitting on your organs, constantly having acid reflux nonetheless. But nevertheless, that's why I'm implementing 3-hour feeding instead of 2 hours, because of my capabilities with consuming calories and just trying to limit that a little bit. Anyways, science has shown 3-hour feeding windows to be optimal in athletes to build lean muscle mass. I really want to focus on loading up on protein on this dirty bulk more than anything, but still enjoying the fuck out of myself, because that's what it's all about when you're dirty bulking. Eating calories, enjoying yourself while you can before you shred down. But protein loading is just another one of my strategies to keep myself a little bit more satiated throughout the process. And that is just really to avoid overdoing it with junk calories that are just going to put on extra fat. The body actually has to work hardest to break down protein out of all macronutrients. Therefore, it takes a little bit of energy, which is going to burn calories, to break down the proteins. And also, besides fibrous foods, proteins are also very heavy on your stomach. So it'll fill you up when you're eating protein on a dirty bulk. And again, limit overdoing the junk calories. I don't plan on avoiding carbs, but if I can limit them, I will, because if there's one thing I know about myself, it's that your boy can eat. One last thing I want to add about my dirty bulk is that I am going to be implementing cardio for the first time in my bulking phases, and that's just, again, to limit damage from the extra calories. Cardio will not stop you from making gains. I don't believe that. I've made tons of gains, if not even amplified the same gains while doing cardio during my workout regimen. Now, I'm not going to get too crazy with my little mini cut. I'm still trying to have a long-term bulk, but it's just a little bit of damage control in between, especially after a dirty bulk. I know my body. I'm easily capable of putting on a pound a day. It would be no problem to put on a pound to 3 pounds a week. I'm just not trying to go too far past 190 $199 at the absolute most. Now, on to the next phase of my bulk. Straight out the gate from my mini cut, I figured it would be a good idea to do a little bit of what I call a loose keto bulk again, but this time I'm still going to document my food. However, I will not limit myself to the amount of calories that I'm eating. I'd really like to see how far I could push it on a low carb caloric surplus that has no limit. My feeding windows again are going to be 3 hours apart, and I also will be doing cardio this month as well. Leading into the next month, I'm going to do another traditional clean bulk under a 500 calorie surplus. I'm not going to be doing any cardio for the month. And on my cheat days, I'm really going to focus on protein. I'm really going to limit the excess junk calories. Still reward myself once a week, but I'm really going to focus on loading up on protein and fat. And leading into the month after, I'm going to be continuing a traditional clean bulk. However, I will not be giving myself a caloric limit, although all the calories I consume for the day are going to come from clean foods. And also, instead of having a cheat day once a week, I'm going to experiment with having a cheat meal once a day. And lastly, as damage control, I will be doing cardio this month. As I reach closer to the end of my bulk, I really plan on ramping up the calories and pushing myself to the limit. And you guessed it, it's time for another dirty bulk phase. And this will last for 6 weeks, and I will be doing cardio still. And for this 6 weeks, I'm giving myself a lot more freedom while still focusing on proteins and fats, but not being afraid to eat extra carbs. Still, I'm not going to overdo it because I also have 1 to 2 weeks planned for my final 1 to 2 weeks of my bulk, depending how my body responds to it. A hardcore dirty bulk phase, where I eat every 2 hours and have absolutely no cap to my caloric allowance. And the plan is to be force feeding every 2 hours, not eating until I'm about to throw up and in pain and uncomfortable, but eating past my normal limits, stretching my stomach a little bit. It's worth mentioning that along with doing cardio, I will be having 2-a-days in the gym to burn extra calories, to utilize the extra calories in order to build more lean muscle. And realistically, when you're a natural bodybuilder or weightlifter, overtraining, unfortunately, is a thing. And especially amplified if you're not getting the proper amount of calories and the proper amount of sleep. And those are 2 things I'm really going to be focusing on maximizing for the last week or 2 to conclude my bulk before rolling into another long-term cut. Now, the only reason I'm including a hardcore dirty bulk phase into my routine is because I want to be capable of training twice a day and really maximize my energy spent in bringing up my lagging body parts and crushing PRs throughout the last weeks of my bulk. And to lead by example on how your body can be expected to react with certain methods of more hardcore dieting. And it'll give you the opportunity to decide, is this style of dieting for me? And is it worth it in the long run? That concludes my current plans for the next year of my life, a 10-month bulk after a 4 to 6 week cut, leading into a 16 to 24 week cut, hopefully still being able to achieve a weight cut down to about 165 pounds without having to drop a ton of water before I step on the scale, in order to be able to compete in a 75 kilogram powerlifting weight class, with the goal in mind to break state deadlift records and squat records for that weight class. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoy watching my journey as much as I enjoy taking the walk. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share my shit. And thanks for watching.